everything down. Maybe that'll help. Oh, looks like maybe. There it is. All right, we good? Shit, no, it's still dropping frame rate like crazy. Poor net. Really? It looks good now? All right. Well, we'll just have to go with lower quality. Who cares? Man, what the hell? All right, I got to try to figure that out. It can't be the network, man. I pay ridiculous amounts of money for our internet. All right. Well, let's try. We shall see. Well, I guess while you guys are here, you guys want anything to throw out before I take us back down the witch talk? Woody.
That's what happened.
So something, man. I'm glad everybody knew to go to Discord, though. Let's all make an agreement right now. If this keeps becoming a problem, or if we drop the stream, I'm just gonna say screw it if I can't get it back up in like a minute, and just go to Discord, and we'll just continue there. Because this is
okay.
I gotta figure it out. I gotta see if maybe it is my network. I just can't imagine how that's possible, but we'll get it sorted out. But while y'all are unmuted, anything to throw out? Otherwise, we'll go back down the rabbit hole.
I was gonna say something about Susan Wojcicki, but I probably shouldn't know.
Nah, screw it.
She's a witch, oh. Okay. Said it.
God. All right, let me see.
My wife, I was just talking to her while I was using the bathroom about the Bible study going on tonight. And she was, like I said, she was Wiccan. And all the stuff we were talking about, she's like, you know what? I need to go find anything else that might be and burn that shit. I was like, yeah, you probably should do.
She is Wiccan, or she was Wiccan?
She used to be. Okay. When I first met her, she had like witch books and everything. And I was like,
really?
All right, I can work with this and get you away from this. In my head, I was like, this is bad juju. But she wasn't actively practicing. It's just kind of like the people in her life brought her into it, and she really didn't have anything else.
Yeah. That's then for everybody I've met who's like a part of that type of stuff. It's always been, in my experience, which is totally anecdotal, but it's 100% of the time in my experience been like their parents, their mom, or like one of their friends, and that's how they got into it. It's not. I've never heard a story of somebody being like, "Oh, I had a personal revelation." Outside of any, outside influence. It's always like which you could say the same thing about most major religions, but there's also a lot of stories about like some kind of personal revelation. Like they saw something, or they heard something, or had a dream, or I don't know. Totally anecdotal though. Totally anecdotal. All right. Anything else from you guys here? Otherwise, go ahead and mute yourself. We'll go through witch talk, and then I'm sure we'll all have something to say about that, because it is wild.
Yeah, I got a nugget for later, but I want to see these crazy witch talks.
Okay.
I mean, I literally came from witch talk, so in all honesty, this isn't crazy to me. This is all normal, so.
Like you came prior to Christianity, or what?
Yeah, I mean, the past like 2-3 years, like this was all the stuff I was into, remember?
I remember. So I didn't know you were specifically in the witchy part of TikTok, though. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, hopefully you can kind of narrate some of this after the fact and explain it, because some of it just goes straight over my head. I have no idea what the hell they're doing. Like this girl is a good example. So maybe after this, I'll pause, and if you know what the hell she's talking about, then you can jump in. TikTok, go to YouTube. Now that it is working, get off TikTok. You're not gonna be able to see anything. All right, so I'll restart this. You're probably wondering, it says, why I'm using a mirror in my ritual here, I find that mirror work is incredible. And I've seen a lot of other people talk about this, so I love to incorporate it into my rituals. Now, there is a reason for it. I feel like it amplifies things just like, clear quartz does. And also, I find it reflects back to me, no shit, it's a mirror. So if I'm doing something, releasing ritual or something, like I'm trying to remove blockages, the mirror is really good for reflecting back to me. It's what they do. It's what they do best. What I need to work on, give it a try and see if it changes your rituals. So one question I kind of have, and it's rhetorical unless somebody actually knows the answer. What rituals are those? Is like this, what this reminds me of, and I don't mean to be an asshole when I say this, I mean it genuinely. Does anybody remember the SpongeBob, where SpongeBob and Patrick did the bear circle? They drew the circle in the sand because the sea bear was like going to come and attack them. But if you drew a circle around, you know what I'm talking about? You draw a circle around you, you're safe from the sea bear. That's all I think of when I see this. But I'm curious though. Like I wish we had somebody who knew about this stuff, like deeply. Tatiana, if you're here and you know what this is, or Kat, I guess. But I wish this could be explained to me, because I'm genuinely curious, like what each thing means, what each thing does. Because she got the little bowls. She got pine cones. She got some dandelion.
I have a thought about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I think technology has advanced so far to the point where people like, okay, I don't understand how that works, so I'm going to basically revert back to monkey and just do silly things that I read in a book somewhere that did have a meaning at one point, but have become so bastardized that it's just turning into this new kind of silly.
Yeah.
That's my take,
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Yeah, I think that's probably a big part of it. Go ahead, Mystic.
I don't know about I was going to call those acorns. Oh my gosh, the pine cones and the flowers, whatever. I don't know about those. But clear quartz is for protection and healing. And then oh my gosh, I don't know what's around it, but it's like for clarity and to like, I don't know, since it's on top of a mirror, it's to project all of those things and then like to bring it back to you so that you can like, I don't know, through this, she'll have more protection and more healing.
So then explain.
I think that's what that's about.
Okay. So clear quartz, I've heard that, it provides protection. Why? I've never got a straight answer.
Thank you, Joe.
Why?
Yeah, I don't I don't know.
So that's and not at all towards you, at not 1% towards you. But that's kind of my issue with like the new age shit. And again, no different than with Christians when I ask them questions and they have no idea, but they say they believe it and they'll die for it. If you don't know why, then why the hell do you believe it? Like that's these are the same people that will talk shit about Christians just growing up in the faith and therefore believing it and not knowing really what they believe. Are these same people who say clear quartz provides protection? Why? I don't know. Okay, so it's no fucking different. It's the same thing. It's humans just being ignorant and being okay with being ignorant. If you're going to believe in something and if you're going to light fires on mirrors in the middle of your very nice living room or entryway, you should know why. Otherwise, it's just weird, I guess is the nice.
It's just superstition at that point, or it's like kind of like cultural masturbation. It's like,
yes.
Look at what we can do. We're special.
Yes.
And I also think if someone can't articulate their beliefs, it's a sign of brainwashing.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the first sign.
Absolutely. I talk about all the time with the church, all the time. If you question somebody about what they believe, there are ways to express like I don't have answers for all sorts of crap, but I can at least express like my train of thought, like why even if I don't know why, I can explain why I don't know. I've looked into this.
Show the math.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah. Show the freaking math, dude.
The only thing, like the only logical reason or defense for them is whenever they use herbs and stuff like that. I think she's holding a bay leaf and those are for protection. And sometimes I think like with the herbs specifically, like those are like, I'm into like other herbalism and stuff. Those are actual, like you can use those for medicine and they can actually physiologically help you in some way. And so I'm wondering if like they take that and then turn it into like, oh, it can also through this, it can also do something for your spirit or whatever, you know?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, I get that thought for sure. I think you still end up in a very similar pace of like baselessness. Cause yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like I'm big into herbs too for medicine and whatnot, but like burning it, that's just ritualistic. You know, unless you're like smoking it, but she's not
totally.
smoking
Yeah.
it. And even that you could argue like, I doubt there's any peer-reviewed study explaining that smoking
There's
phase.
probably a stoner out there that's tried to smoke babies.
There definitely
All
is.
of these work.
There's
And all the
a-
other herbs for that matter.
There's no question. No question.
I mean, when I get sniffly, I don't burn Benadryl. Like, there's an application for these things.
No, you snort. No. Okay.
Good point.
Yeah, you snort Benadryl, right?
You could. You got. Oh, there are definitely people who do. Right. All right. I love this one because it ends in a very comical fashion. All right. It says, if you are a witch, prove it. And for anybody who's listening later and not watching this, it's a girl who, in my opinion, kind of looks like Amy Winehouse, but like a less beautiful version. Not that this woman is not attractive, but Amy Winehouse was gorgeous. If you are a witch, prove it. She's staring at a candle, and then the candle slowly goes out. And she smirks, a little crooked smile. Now we have a man with a beard and slight gauges who is rubbing some kind of, I don't know if it's water or some kind of oil. It's not oil. It's not thick enough, but something on the candle, lights a candle. Now he's looking at it, mocking her. And the candle goes out in similar fashion. I assume the point of this is just to show that it's bullshit. Maybe that's my cynical perspective, but that is what it seems.
It's just that there's always an explanation for things like this, you know?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. So yeah, I mean, that one's pretty cut and dry. This I thought was very funny too. And just so everybody knows, I saved probably like 100 of these, and then I had to go back and delete most because otherwise we would have been here all day. But it just goes on and on and on, and it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. But some of them, in all honesty, was like, it was kind of interesting, if for no other reason than to kind of see, to just watch the brainwashing and watch people kind of fall in line and just go through these same rotation. And again, no different than Christians, in my opinion. They do the exact same thing. It's no different. But this one says, if you're a beginner witch, you need this. She's got a mason jar. It's raining heavily outside. She's collecting the rainwater. She's putting the cap on. Says stormwater, harder the storm, the stronger the water. And then she takes the cap off and then she dumps it out. So I think it says she's cleaning the jar. She's filling it back up. She's got a nice hula hoop right there. Stormwater is excellent for powerful spells, grounding, and protection on account of its strength. Fill the jar back up. And I believe she dumps it out yet again.
It's
Oh
literally
my
like
God.
coming off of her. It's like runoff. Like it's like water off her roof.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
dirty roof water.
that's what when you do not clean the gutters at your house, that's what happens. She's collecting dirty gutter water. She spills some of it out. She puts the cap on, and then she shakes it up. From its ability to wash away, it can also be used in banishing or cleansing spells. She's taking the lid off, and then she dumps it out again. Do you not need to keep it to use it? Now she's collecting more dirty gutter water.
Nah, bro, the universe knows, or whatever they say.
All right, she's got a full this time. It can be used to make rose water, holy water, charge water, and weather spells. What is Mystic? Do you know what is holy water within a witch context? I don't know.
I don't know. I think
No.
it's pretty much the same. Like
Interesting.
That car has hydraulics on it. That's funny.
Good observation. I think this time she keeps it. Yep. Go ahead.
yeah, it's just things like this. It always made me feel like they just don't believe that their intentions and words are enough. Like they don't actually have the faith that even if they're praying to whoever, that it's not enough, that they have to physically do this. So
Yeah.
it just proves that they don't even have enough to believe in what they're actually doing, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Totally agree. That's a good point. It's a very good point. All right, here. Hopefully it doesn't have.
Everybody's so.
Yeah, I think we're safe. All right. One sec.
Everybody's so witchy. Let's clean that jar with some smoke. That looks good. We're gonna add salt for luck. 'Cause salt and rice for luck. And some bay leaves for luck.
I can't
and
hear
some-
the video.
No.
No, not on this. I would have to turn up the. I'll mute myself.
Okay, I'll narrate as well. I'll narrate it because she does talk very softly.
Everybody's so witchy.
Everybody's so witchy.
Let's clean that jar.
Let's
with
clean
some
that jar
smoke.
with
That
some
looks
smoke.
good.
That looks
We're
good.
gonna add salt.
Gonna
for
add
luck.
some salt for luck.
Salt and rice.
Gonna add some rice
for luck.
and some
Bay leaves
for luck.
Some rope.
and some rope.
You see how you would never use that for luck, but we're doing it anyway because everyone is so witchy.
And she said, "Now, what did she say? Shit."
Everyone is so witchy.
She's basically just mocking them. Okay, this is another one that outside of the mocking nature, I'm curious, like, why? What is it? And it looks like she's got another jar back here and several over here, and then she's pouring wax on it. I don't know if like the purpose of that is to seal it or like a wax stamp back in the day, like Games of Thrones style. I don't know. Mystic, do you have any insight on this?
That's just like a little I don't know. It's like it is a spell type thing. Like it's all the same. Like it's all that's like a manifestation type of thing where each piece that you put in it represents something, and then whenever you seal it off, it's like praying it, like putting it out into the universe. That's like as basic as I like. That's like as basic as I know. Like I was never really like did all that because that's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, but I mean that makes sense. Okay, interesting. Man, when I gotta be honest, I have a very childish picture of spells in my head. I grew up on World of Warcraft, so when I think of spells, I just think of World of Warcraft. So
This is one of my favorite.
that's something I need to work on. All right, this is Baby Witch Tips.
Nice
This is one
name.
of my favorite witch tips to use. Take some clean eggshells and go ahead and crush them up.
Crush up
Eggshells have really
eggshells.
strong protection.
Okay, this is the thing. And I tried to talk about this with Kat. She says eggshells have really strong protection.
Every ingredient is a protection ingredient.
So, why?
It really is though.
Why?
I don't know.
Because the
There's
shell
different
protects the
flavors
baby
of
egg.
protection.
It's
I mean, that's a good tie. That would make sense.
it's the only thing that makes any goddamn sense. But at the same time, there's a million, the quartz, Cat could probably help. But it seems like everything is some kind of protective shield. And like and why? On top of just why the hell are eggshells protective? Also, like if you're a witch and you have this special tie with the spiritual realm, and you're able to conjure spells and heal with basil leaves and jars covered with wax, why do you need so much protection? Like, can't you protect yourself? Isn't part of being a witch the ability?
Yeah, I think that the whole thing is like being a witch is actually going out and like doing all of these spells and like the protect like all that stuff. And whenever like they believe that whenever you tap into this and whenever you tap into those spirits, then all of the dark energy and all of the dark spirits are going to come at you. But like they're not going to come at you unless you're being a witch. So the majority of the stuff they do is protection.
So do these people not believe that, I'll call them normal people, but people who are not witches, do they not believe that normal people are plighted by negative spiritual energy or negative spiritual entities? And like only if you're a super special witch on TikTok that you need to protect yourself from like demonesque type entities? Like, is that the general belief that normies are unaffected, I guess?
No, I don't think so. I honestly think it is like super fair to compare it to the difference between regular people having bad experiences and stuff, and then pastors or people being under severe like spiritual attack. I think that's like a good comparison because they're actually tapping into these spirits and they're actually getting their attention, so they're going to get a lot more attention from them, you know.
Okay. So I guess another point of clarification, witches are not inherently negative or evil.
No. They're more like, I've always seen them as like, I guess, medians. Like they're a vessel that has faith in the things that they use, like their spells and all of that. And they just communicate with the spirits and they try to just, I guess, get a positive like future going for themselves as well, because a lot of it can also be future telling too with the spirits.
Right.
So it's not like they're inherently out trying to, like the wicked witches with their cauldrons, like mustering up all of the crazy demonic spirits. Like that's not like inherently what this is like at all.
Okay. And then
They sound like hypochondriacs with extra steps.
Yeah.
that's pretty.
You know what I mean?
Honest.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, let me think. So if you're a witch, you're more prone to the other realm. So I guess in that same idea, do they believe, I guess in general, do witches of this age, do they believe that the spirits that they're interacting with are only dead people, or do they believe they're also interacting with a realm of entities that were never on this earth, were never in this reality?
They definitely, I don't know. It could be different. I don't know. A lot of people have different beliefs like that, and a lot of,
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the majority I've seen, they believe that they're talking to actual spirits of gods. Like a huge thing that I saw trending on TikTok after, thankfully, your TikTok yanked me out of it back in like February or whatever, everybody was trying to do deity work, and they were trying to be led by or communicate with like the god Hecate or something like that. I forgot, or like the god Hera, or Aphrodite, stuff like that. They were all trying to be led by them, and then through like, yeah. So those are the types of spirits that they try to talk to and communicate.
Okay. All right. That was wildly enlightening, actually. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. All right. And hey, I'm sorry, I'm putting a lot of pressure on you, Mystic. So just thank you very much for trying. Because
It's okay.
I don't assume you are like the all-knowing witch, but hopefully, you've already added a lot of context, and that was very enlightening. Actually, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. So thank you.
This is
All
one
right,
of my
we didn't
favorite
finish the
witch tricks
eggs.
to use. Take some clean eggshells and go ahead and crush them up.
Joe,
Yeah.
my mom has opinions on the eggs.
No. Nope.
I agree.
Nope.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, she just needs to unmute herself. She's muted from her end.
I didn't tell her that because I wasn't ready for her to annihilate all of us.
Okay,
But
well, no, pause.
comment.
Let's watch the egg thing. Let's watch this first, and then let's have her pop in after. So
Fair.
she's got the rest of the context. Okay, so eggshells obviously provide protection. That's where we are.
Eggshells and go ahead and crush them up. Eggshells have really strong protection. You want to mix in your incense ash and whatever
You got to mix in incense ash
salt of your preference.
and add salt, and it becomes a super strong black salt. Oh God, now I remember this, cat. Okay.
And this creates a really strong black salt.
Follow if you love witchy things. So eggshells, and then she had salt, and now it's strong black salt. I don't think that's how black salt is made. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
You're totally not wrong.
Okay, right on. Glad to hear it. All right, so Mothership, if you would like to unmute yourself, you're muted from your end. So you gotta hit the little microphone thingy. Kat, you might need to assist your mother.
Sweet heavens. Mom, if you just tap the screen where you can see all of the squares with everybody's cute little faces on it, a little thingy is going to pop up. And it's going to have a microphone.
She got it.
Oh, God bless.
First, I had to find the speaker button.
All right, tell us about the eggs.
Eggs are just like everything else. It's the energy. It's a protective vessel.
But you mean it like literally though, right? Because like in that, like an eggshell literally protects the chick.
It does, yes. So witchcraft is pretty much just like it's the energy. It's using the energy to do things. It's modifying the energy. It's directing the energy and using the available energy of the objects. If the eggshell has a protective energy, then you can use it.
Oh, you cut out. You said literally you could use it, and then it cut
Yes.
off. Okay, so then I guess in the same note, can anything that has that kind of energy be used then? What if a piece of wood has a
Yes.
protective energy to it?
Yes, well, think of Palo Santo, the holy wood. It's protective.
Oh shit, that was a bad example.
Uh-huh.
What about
Wait,
a,
I got one.
Okay, good. Thank you.
If we
Go.
don't have eggs and we don't have wood lying around, can we use like drywall dust?
That's good.
You can if it was charged with positive protective energy.
And so how do you do that? Do you have to be a witch and then the
No,
witches
you
do
don't
that?
No, this is what everybody thinks, that the witch is something, it's supernatural, that not everyone can manipulate energy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say too.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense. So technically, and again, totally in general, but anything at all can harness this protective power. So then why are certain things used at a much greater degree, like quartz?
Because they have that natural high vibration that comes from the elements around it.
Okay, so some things inherently carry protective energy,
Yes.
and other things, an individual has to bestow the energy upon the item.
Yes. You think about protective amulets.
Sure.
If you can put anything in it, but what do people usually put in those amulets? It's something, little pieces of what consecrated protective energy, and when they all come together, it is a lot more.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good context. Okay. So,
I have a question.
yeah, go.
How much does belief and placebo play into this? Because if someone doesn't believe these things and they sit there and they make a little potion with the same ingredients, is it going to work in the same way that it works for the person who does believe it?
That's a good question.
That depends on the person and if they believe in the placebo effect.
Well, I mean, what do you mean? I mean, placebo is for sure real, but I guess a different way of saying it is like, if I don't have genuine intentions, like if I were to do it right now, and I personally think most of it's bullshit. I believe very much in energy, like all the spiritual stuff. I don't so much believe that, like, if I crush up eggshells like in the video and then mix it with salt, I have some kind of magical powder or whatever. I don't believe that. So if I were to do it though, and no knock against people who do at all, but if I were to do it, being someone who absolutely does not believe in that, would it still get the energy because I'm putting like my focus on it? I'm doing the same ritual, or do you have to, like, is it like Jesus where like you have to believe it genuinely? Or it's not real?
If you even have good intentions, you don't have to be a believer, but you have a positive energy that you're putting into. You're doing it with positivity.
Okay. So what if I do it with negativity? What if I go into it like F this is bullshit. I want to prove that it's bullshit.
You're going to get exactly what you put into it.
So would it be neutral, or would it create some kind of like a negative energy spell?
That also depends on a lot of other things, but it's not necessarily going to create a negative spell. It just, more than likely, nothing's going to happen. Oh,
Interesting.
and by the way, if you mix eggshells with salt and you sprinkle it around your house, the ants will not come through.
Well, that's a good use. I'm on board.
Yes.
I'm on board now.
So
Okay.
that's what I would use eggshells and salt for.
Interesting. Okay.
The way to get Joe on board with witchcraft is
I'm
keep
in
the
it.
ants out.
I'm a witch now. I will be a witch if it keeps the goddamn ants out of my house. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions for
I
Todd?
do.
Okay, go.
Yes.
So what percentage of it is ingredients versus intention? Can you do this? Like, can I just take a box of Cheerios and crush them up and have an intention to do X, Y, or Z? Or do I
Yes.
have to use eggshells?
No. You can take whatever you want. This is what people think being a witch or witchcraft. That's Hollywood. You go the old ways. Well, when you are putting in the intention or you using things available to you that already have something charged, that's completely different. That's close to paganism.
Okay, so why not just use a basic crystalline structure like water? Why do you need all these extra ingredients when you can put intention into water?
Because they all have different ingredients hold different components. It can modify a formula. Just like you have a regular water or you have flavored water.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, what is the percentage of the overall effect? Is it mostly intention or mostly ingredients, or would you say it's half and half?
That also depends on what you're doing. A lot of the things that can be done is simply only intention, and other things the mix up. Whatever you want to be that day.
Why do you need the stuff at all would be my question, because I believe we're inherently spiritual creatures. I don't believe you need a cross. I don't believe you need to go to church. I don't believe you need a goddamn thing other than you and your connection as a spiritual being to the spiritual realm. Why the items at all?
We need a boost. We need a boost.
But that means we're
come
weak.
so far away. Yes, because we've come far away from what we were naturally originally created for.
Which was what?
To be the spiritual beings that can do whatever intention allows us to do.
Why is God not good enough? Why do we need salt or eggshells or any of it, crystals or?
Because we stepped away from God and whatever you want to call the creator.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that, but why is salt the intermediary? Why would Jesus not be good enough for Christians, and why for people who aren't Christian? Why wouldn't just the God of the literal universe who created the eggshells? Why do we need inanimate objects to be an intermediary between us and God? I get that we fell away, but what that kind of insinuates to me is like God is not great enough, or Jesus didn't do what he was kind of supposed to do, which is create that connection again.
It's not God or Jesus. It's us humans.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know that we are the failures.
Yes, because we don't have that straight connection to God and to Jesus that we should have. So we need the tools. We need every little bit of help. We need every little bit of that little box that you plug in into your wall to distribute your internet signal throughout the house.
I guess I would argue if you had a good enough internet, you don't need it. Get better internet.
Yeah. I kind of have, this begs the question, if these things were as important as you say, and I'm, trying to be respectful, then why wouldn't God or the creator in general leave a sort of manual to say, yo, in order to contact me, you need salt or you need X, whatever?
Well, who said that there wasn't a manual?
Well, let's take
well, maybe
straight,
there is. I haven't seen it.
How about straight Christianity? Because most people who listen to this and most people who are here at least label themselves as Christian-ish, if not totally Christian. From a Christian perspective, we have nothing to validate this. You have to leave Christian, which I have no problem with, as everybody knows. I have zero issue with leaving old Christian texts and books, and because I mean, you guys know I have no issue with that. But from a Christian perspective, we have nothing to back any of this shit. Zero, absolute zero. So if you're like an average Christian, I guess and I'm not saying anything about your beliefs specifically, but since you know about this stuff, say we have a Christian who's none of us, they claim Christianity, they claim Jesus Christ, they claim Yahweh is God, and they also believe in all this, I'll call it New Age stuff, even though a lot of it predates some of Christianity, but they believe a lot of this stuff. How do you rectify that, or how do you correlate that with Christianity? Because if anything, I would argue the Bible kind of speaks out against it. It'd be hard to, without leaving the canon, so the Old Testament, the New Testament, it'd be hard to not say it's some kind of heresy, right?
What, to the witchcraft or using all the tools that God gave us?
Yeah, I mean, it's idolatry.
No.
From a very simple point.
No, let me put it to you this way. So God did give us the direction in the Old Testament, and Jesus gave us the new directions in the New Testament, the dietary, the incense, the smells that appease God, the way to do certain things, what to eat, when to eat it, the fasting.
Fasting.
Yes, when you fast during certain times of the year.
Mm-hmm.
In some Christianities, like in Orthodox, we have stricter Lents during some times of the year, and then during others it's less of it. And the reason the Lent is created is to lighten your body so it does not stay in it does not stop your spirit from being more clear to connect to God. So there are specific instructions of what you can eat and how often do you eat.
Sure.
So your spirit can get that connection that we otherwise don't get. The manual is there.
Well, I agree with the fasting, but that's validated by the canon. Also, that's also validated by science to some degree. Is that the way your brain functions?
But on the spiritual, you don't do the fasting all the time. You don't do it every single day.
Yeah.
But you do it during certain times of the year, and coincidentally, you're doing it during between the spring equinox and between the first full moon.
But
my YouTube is trying to catch up with what we've already talked about.
I guess the fasting makes sense. So same with the example I gave before, like a Christian who's a Christian but believes the New Age stuff. Fasting you can validate with the Bible, like the normal Christian Bible. You don't have to go to Enoch. You don't have to go to any of the apocryphal texts. Straight up Bible, any church in America, you can validate the concept of fasting. No Bible can validate the concept of using crystals or quartz or salt in a circle on a mirror. That's more of what I'm asking.
Maybe not the salt in the mirror, but if you look at the Old Testament, when God gave Adam and Eve the instructions when they first were kicked out of heaven, when he gives them the instructions of what kind of incense to burn and when to burn it because it appeases him, what kind of gifts to bring to the altar, and some of the stones, that's all crystals.
Are you talking about when they were kicked out of the garden?
Yes, when they first became, that they had to survive without God and being in a garden, and God gives them specific instructions.
I'm trying to pull things up so I can put it on the
screen. Look at Adam and Eve book.
But that's outside of the canon.
Like the CIA thing?
CIA thing. So they're go ahead. What were you gonna say?
There's like the Book of Adam and Eve. It was written by like what's his name, something Thomas, Chan Thomas maybe, or
That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
But now we're outside of the canon. So I mean, I can justify all sorts of shit if you let me use apocryphal texts, which are not in the canon. But
Okay, then go to Moses. Go look at what because Moses burns the same incense. He burns in the same ritual that God told him. He's also given him instructions on what to burn, what to eat, how to decorate the altar.
there you go. That's a better, yeah, that's a good example. That's a better example. There's more validity in that for sure. That's straight canon. And there were a lot of things that they had the oils. I mean, there were things like that. So sure.
And that's everything that later down the line they're saying, oh, don't use it because it is witchcraft. But I go to my church service and I get anointed with oil because yesterday was celebrated the birth of Mother Mary. So I get anointed with the rose oil.
Sure. No, that was a good example. So that brings up, we've got, and not at all to put them on the same level because they're not, but you've got basically Catholics and Orthodox who still will adhere to and use a lot of the old traditional rituals. Things like oil, incense, using, different kinds of candles for different ceremonies. That's a good point. Yeah. So those are good examples of Christians who do things like that. So sure. So I guess would you then consider what the New Age people are doing, like some of the stuff that we're watching on TikTok that deviates pretty heavily from Catholic and Orthodox tradition? Would you consider those things heretical? Because those can't be backed by the Bible. Whereas what the Orthodox Church does and the Catholic Church, albeit you've got some argument because you're talking Old Testament versus New Testament, you can at least validate them with the canon. But some of the stuff we're watching from TikTok it deviates from that. So is that heresy, or would you say that maybe the Bible just didn't cover everything, which is the case for other things, and so they're just more of the same? These like the eggshells.
I would say it did not cover everything. It kind of goes with what you said earlier about sorcery. It's something you learn. It's a lifelong learning. It's the same as planting a garden. It's a lifelong learning.
Okay. All right. Well, that's more clear to me. Yeah, I get the.
Kind of have something to say.
Yeah, go.
Okay, so I mean, there's a common thread with all these ingredients. Well, not all, but a lot of them. It's burn this herb, or use salt here, and use this oil. Most of them are antibacterial or even antiviral.
Yes.
So I think a lot of it boils down to application. Everything has an application. And just because something has a property when you eat it, for example, doesn't mean that if you hang it out on your doorstep, it's going to have the same property. So everything has its own application. And I think people take, eggs protect the baby chicken. Yes, but they don't protect everything. They protect the baby chicken. It's made of calcium. Calcium's good for your bones, which you can say protects you. But it's the application that needs to be looked at and not the ingredient itself, in my opinion.
You are correct in a lot of it, but there's also different departments of it. So the whole witchcraft or sorcery, all of that, it has different subcategories. And you can use all of these properties. You can use them as ingesting, or you can use them as a symbolic. And it works just as well symbolic as it does when you ingest it.
Okay, interesting. I want to bring up a few things here from the chat because I've been totally ignoring it because I've been very invested. But Mikkel said, what can we make of the desperate woman who told herself, if only I touched Jesus's clothing? That may not be crystal nor eggshells, but it's kind of a superstitious faith. He says, I wonder. Another good example that the old floof threw out was the gifts from the wise men. frankincense, myrrh. Interesting things to just kind of point out. That was all.
Yeah, they're all antibacterial and or conductors of electricity.
So, Ghost, what do you make? I missed some of what you said, but so maybe reiterate or expand more on it. What do you make of that fact? Because that is a fact.
I think Mikkel's right. I think placebo. This is something that I wrote down and kind of like earlier. Special things over time will be seen as mundane. One day, AI will be as ubiquitous as, water or eggshells, and we won't see it as special anymore. So, like, I don't know if I put this as well as I thought I did. It was a random thought earlier in the show.
Makes
but
sense.
Yeah, I think Mikkel's right. I think the placebo is extremely important. Placebo is not just the placebo effect, how people say. It's something that God designed into us for a reason, and I think it's connected with faith. I don't think like monkeys have the placebo effect. I don't think cats have placebo effect. So I'll pull back. Yeah, I want other people to speak too.
No, sorry, I was just saying I can't fool my cat, so no placebo effect there.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Ghost, why do you think you said you think God ingrained that in us? Why?
Because it seems to be a valuable mechanism to persuade, maybe. Because the placebo effect can actually make us feel a certain way.
Yeah.
So if you raise your child to believe that, take any object, just a random object, and you tell them every day that this object means this. Whenever they see that object, they'll get a thought, and then it leads them down a road of, this is, okay, let's get into what is bewitching. We use brainwash tonight, but it's the same thing. You're making someone believe something and attaching emotion to it based on repetition and grooming, so to speak. Like you're attaching ideas to objects, and I think that's I don't know. Try to run with that.
That's a good point. It's a very good point. Any of you guys on here voice, do you have anything to add or questions on that? I think that makes perfect sense, personally.
And if no one else wants to say anything, I also wrote down sigils are molecules. So
expand more on that.
Okay, sigils are shapes that people give a meaning to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think molecules are sacred geometry, and they are shapes that do specific things. So you could kind of see sigils as like a low resolution, kind of ignorant version of what a molecule is.
Okay.
But it's not like, it's like they didn't know that, but somehow they intuitively understood that different shapes can mean different kind of things.
Yeah.
There's a connection, but I don't know. I can't trace it, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's just a random thought I had. Like sigils, we're talking about magic and spells. So
yeah.
They're part of it.
Yeah, it's something to think about. Interesting.
But I think most magic is just either chemical, in the sense that, like, I can say I love you to someone, and then boom, oxytocin erupts in their brain.
Yep.
Or I could say something hurtful, and then boom, whatever erupts. Like, it's words are magic in that regard.
Yeah.
But they're so ubiquitous now that if you were to say words are magic to like an average normie, they'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. I mean, everything is basically a chemical reaction, and that includes emotions. Emotions are the result of a chemical reaction, right?
Yeah. I've told people before in conversation or whatever that, like, Aphrodite is oxytocin. That is what Aphrodite is. A lot of these gods are just personified kind of ways of learning about phenomena that they couldn't understand at the time.
Yeah.
They didn't know what molecules were and etc.
No, I mean, it was the same thing, man. If you look at, weather gods, it was the same thing, same concept.
Yeah.
Trying to understand something that whatever demographic or time period didn't understand.
And I think some of these things were arrived at because they were taught to these people, and other things were arrived at because some genius, I say that sarcastically,
Yeah.
came up with an idea that X means Y, and they ran with it, and now people believe that, whatever.
Yeah.
Silly things.
Yeah, no, 100%. Mikkel said, it's like Ghost says, it makes all the same in the world. Ritualistic placebo effect is God-given, has been so persistent since the beginning of time. I mean, it's true. It's true. Honestly, I didn't really think about placebo until you had brought it up. Within this context, I didn't really think about it.
I think placebo is the gasoline for magic. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
it makes sense.
Without it, it just, a lot of it wouldn't work. I mean, the technology side of magic, you have the word stuff and influence and persuasion, that side of magic, but you also have like technology, like quartz. No matter what country you're in, no matter where you're at on the world, quartz has a piezoelectric effect.
Yeah.
It just does, because that's an innate property of it. And so when people say, oh, quartz means this and it has protection and quartz means that, well, all that stuff is just so subjective, but we know it's piezoelectric because we can test it and repeat it over and over. And I don't think we can do that with a lot of the magic stuff, but a lot of the new age magic stuff, not the real magic.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see them try. All right. Any of you guys on The Voice, anything else you want to throw out real quick? Otherwise, we are going to, I'm going to burn through a few more of these wishy talks, and then we'll do last words. And I got to get out of here soon.
I think that
I'm gonna get out of here soon. Yeah, go you first.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think that the biggest thing that I've always thought about with all of this, and the biggest flaw, is natural people, like just regular people who aren't really tapped into this thing, into spirituality and stuff. They
Muggles
have, they've so badly ruined their spiritual radar that they need these physical things in order to make themselves believe that there is a spiritual realm, or like they need them to be able to tap into it, because nobody can believe in anything that they don't see anymore. And so the whole like situation here is there's a whole disconnect of people not trusting what they can't see, and not trusting themselves, and not trusting words, where they just need these physical things,
Very, very good point. Savage point.
Super good point. Totems.
That's what
Hell
I
yeah.
was saying about tools, why we need the tools, because we are the disconnected.
Yeah.
It's kind of like as a tape. You can't touch it. You can't test it. The same thing with magic. You can't test it. You know it's there. If you believe, it's there. But we are so watered down, and we are muggles, that we need the tools, not just to believe in magic, but to tap into it, to tap into that vibration, tap into that mode that even whatever the people call it. For some it's a realm, for some it's an energy, for some it's even the mind state.
Yeah.
So I think this is spot on right there.
This is interesting, man. That was very good. All right, last chance. Anybody? Or I'm gonna go ahead and mute the Discord. 3, 2, 1. All right, y'all are muted. Don't talk. Okay, that was a super good point, though, Mystic. Very, very, very good point. It's interesting to see kind of the two sides of kind of what Mothership was talking about versus what Mystic had just brought up, because they're kind of antithetical. But that was a really, really good point that Mystic just brought up. Very, very good point. All right, we're gonna burn through some of these real quick. If you guys want to do a part 2 to this, well, I guess part 3, because we already have 2 parts because we got booted off the stream. If you want to do another one of these on maybe witchcraft specifically, and we can go deeper into the New Age stuff and kind of focus in on that, then let me know in the YouTube chat. Actually, I'll post a poll real quick. and see if you guys want to do that. All right, hit that poll for me so I know. And we're going to run through some of these real quick. So listen up.
Anybody else think it's super weird that the Christians who take the teeth their kids lose and put them under the pillow for the tooth fairy and make birthday wishes off their birthday candles, decorate Christmas trees, leave offerings for Santa, and dress up like the Easter Bunny will tell you that you're going to hell for practicing witchcraft? Or is that just me? Anybody else?
Okay, so kind of funny. And if anybody in Discord tries to talk, it's not going to come through to the stream. So if you really want to come on and say anything, then let me know on YouTube. But I'm going to try to burn through some of this, so maybe save it for next time. Funny because Christians practice pagan ceremonies, for those of you who don't know. It's just a fact. We can go into it another time if you guys want to. I also have videos on YouTube explaining Christmas and Easter and things like that. But we do it. We do it.
Here is a quick and easy witch tip. Whenever someone's thanking you for something, never say you're welcome. Always say it's okay or anything like that. Just because as you're saying you're welcome, you're technically inviting that person into your life. And you don't know their true intentions. Follow for more witch tips. Here is...
So, just an interesting one. Just an interesting one. Oh, I pulled it off, didn't I? There you go. Sorry. All right,
Anybody else think it's super weird that the Christians who take the teeth their kids lose and put them under the pillow for the tooth fairy and make birthday wishes off their birthday candles, decorate Christmas trees, leave offerings for Santa, and dress up like the Easter Bunny will tell you that you're going to hell for practicing witchcraft? Or is that just me?
Okay, so truth.
Here is a quick and easy witch tip. Whenever someone's thanking you for something, never say you're welcome. Always say it's okay or anything like that. Just because as you're saying you're welcome, you're technically inviting that person into your life. And you don't know their true intentions. Follow for more witch.
So this can go based on, kind of like Ghost said, words are magic. The idea is that you're verbally opening yourself up to the other person's energy, I believe, is what she's insinuating. Oddly enough, I agree to a point. Maybe not in the same way that she means it, but in a sense, I agree. I agree. Not to the point that don't say you're welcome. I mean, be polite. It's a social norm. I don't think spiritually the words themselves with no intention automatically let somebody enter your life, but all the same. My practice as a beginner versus 5 years of practicing. This is very occulty. And I can tell you that again from personal experience. I've literally been in the room. So there's that.
Never pick up coins that you find on the street, because it can bring you bad luck. You never know who that coin belonged to before you found it. Money is energy. Don't take money from the hands of your enemies or people who wish you harm. When you move into a new place, don't bring your broom and mop from the previous place with you, as this can bring old energies back into your life. Try to refrain from celebrating your birthday in advance if you want a peaceful year and long life. Don't keep your flowers in cracked pots, as this can lead to quarrels in the family. Never...
Okay, so a lot of superstition. That's what that is to me personally. That's my personal opinion. Just a hell of a lot of superstition. So that's that. That's that. If you guys want to do the part 2, did the poll go through? The poll's being real weird. So I'll post a poll in Discord, and you guys can answer it there for whether we want to do another one about witchcraft and spells and sorcery and whatnot. And like I said, maybe we'll focus more in on the New Age movement of it and go through a little bit more of it, a little bit more in depth. I made a Q&A, not a poll. Thank you. I'm an idiot. I gotcha. Here we go. Start a poll, baby. There we go. There we go, guys. I got it. Thanks, Mystic. This is why we need you around, because I am technologically illiterate. Okay, there's the poll. Hit that for me. I'll leave it up for like 2 minutes, and then I got to burn out of here. I got to get the kiddo to bed. Everybody on TikTok, I don't know why you're still here. That's a lot of people to be sitting there listening to silence half the time because people are talking in my ear, and me totally out of context because you can't hear what the other people are saying. So props to you for being here. Next time, go to YouTube. Same username as TikTok. Join the Discord. There's a link in my bio there on TikTok, and then you can get the hell off of TikTok because it's not a great place to be. Can we get rid of our ritualistic nature? I doubt it. That's my opinion. I doubt it. I find it very unlikely. I think that's something that is to a degree ingrained in humans. All right, 100% yes on if we're doing a part 2, technically a part 3 of this topic. So I will throw that in. The poll for next Thursday's topic will be up tonight. So look out for that. The poll will close Saturday morning because I need the weekends. Work has been absolutely insane. So I need the weekend to prepare for these. Saturday morning, you will be out of luck to vote on next week's topic. Sunday night, we're going to be going through chapter 4 and 5 in 2 Corinthians, possibly 6 if we have time. If you missed last week, it doesn't really matter. I'll get you up to speed. That will always be the case. I'll make sure that nobody's thrown off if you miss a week or whatever. But Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Time, we're back in the canon. We're going super deep like we used to when we were not doing Enoch. So any of you who have not been in the Bible study outside of Enoch, come on Sunday, check it out. It's very, very different. It's very different. The way that I go about that is dramatically different than what we did with Enoch. So consider coming to that. And then I was talking to Kat about the Saturday night stream and AKA's Paul's Angst. Hell yeah. About adding the Saturday night stream. I'm hoping by either the end of this month or sometime next month to add that in. I just really want to make sure I can commit fully. And so I don't flake out because we're super busy. So very excited. It's going to be good stuff, but I will post the poll for next Thursday right now when we get off. And I love you all. And thank you all for coming on The Voice, man. That's how it used to be. That's how it used to be. We'd have a group of people in there and we'd have a conversation. I hate talking for an hour. Believe me, that's so pure and genuine when I say that. I hate it. So please keep coming on. Keep coming on. Let's keep having conversations. That's why I liked doing this. It became very not fun for me when I had to come on here and just talk because I hate it 100%. So I really appreciate everybody who came on to speak. Please consider continuing to do that. Even if it's just to ask questions, it gets the conversation going. And I want to hear other people's opinions, other people's voices. It's a conversation. Please help me try to keep it that way. All right, I got to go. I got to pee. And I got to get to bed. I love you guys all dearly. TikTok, get the hell off TikTok.